Hi, I'm Lon Stump. Today we're going to build the ISIS RC F-22. Let's get started. This kit is produced by ISISRC.com. It's a fantastic plane, really robust. It holds up extremely well. We got the kit out here in front of you. Let's build it. First thing we're going to do is take our carbon fiber spar, place it, comes with included in the kit, place it in the slot provided. You can actually use foam safe CA glue, a hot glue gun, 5-minute epoxy, or some people have actually used Elmer's glue to build it. I like the CA glue because it is so fast and efficient. That's it. It's that simple and fast. Okay, we've got our spar in. The next step is glue on the nose. Just a small bead of glue, line it up, place it in, give it a shot. The accelerant is so handy. Our next step is we're going to take some 120 grit sandpaper and knock off the backside, the underneath side of this to a 45-degree angle. We're going to sand each taileron now down to 45 degrees. Remember, there's a left and a right, so I'll match them up, pick the right side, and sand correctly that corner alone. So we're just going to knock it down real quick. Another 45 degrees. It doesn't take long or much effort with 120 grit sandpaper. That's the nice thing about working with Depron and why I like to use it. There we go. Done. It's that easy. Our next step, now that we have the taileron sanded down and lined up, we're going to use Blenderm tape. You can actually use a multiple kinds of tape, but Blenderm holds up the best. Clear packing tape tends to degrade in sunlight, so pull out a strip, cut it off, and lay it down flat. There's one side. We can do the other one here real quick. There's the top part. Alright, the next step, now that we've got the top down, you're going to fold it over and do the same thing again, but to the back side. Fold it over. That gives us a nice hinge that's really durable and strong. So we've got the top side completed. We have both of our hinges working good now. You're going to turn the plane over, and the next step is going to be to put the skid plates on. You'll notice the marks cut into each side, so we want these marks, these are for the servos, to go in after the prop on each side for this. So let's glue them into place. Okay, here we have an AX-ION Axon motor that's 1800 kV and it's spinning a 7x6 prop. The shaft is really long on these. What I recommend you do is cut it off and put a collet on it because it comes with two nuts to lock down your prop. Don't use them. They tend to bend really easy, and once this shaft is bent, you can throw the motor away. The nice thing about this is they're $4.99 basically for the motor through Hobby King. The stick is just from an old slow stick shaft. It's fiberglass. Wood is preferable probably. You get a 3/8 by 3/8 square wood, and that should hold you. Yep, is going to be the front of the bottom of the airplane. Glue the two matching halves together. Make sure the top part is flat because this is the part that's glued to the front of the airplane. Hit it with a little accelerant. Alright, so you're going to line up your motor. Don't be afraid to cut out any extra foam as needed. Line up your bottom part. See how much you're going to have to cut off. So it's going to sit like that. So you're just going to roughly mark it out. And just cut the extra out. Alright, now that we've got the bottom of our fuselage cut out for our stick mount, test fit it, make sure everything lines up correctly. If you have to sand a little more or cut a little more off, just do it. And what I would prefer you to do, don't CA glue this. Use 5 or 15 minute epoxy to hold this down. You're going to hold it to the fuselage and put 5-minute epoxy along the top part and glue the whole thing in place with 5-minute epoxy. It's going to make it much stronger, much more durable. For you guys that are actually building a firewall mount, the kits will include spare foam so you can guss it up around it. But with these motors, the stick mount works well, and you can use it just about any way you want. Alright, now that we've got the motor mount cut out and glued onto the front, remember, use epoxy. That's really important. It strengthens up that whole area, and it will improve it. If you'll notice the prop slot, keep space in the front. You don't need to center your prop in it. You rather have more to the back. If you need to cut out a little extra around any of these sides, just do it. What this does is actually make it quieter in the air. That's part of the design of this whole plane. Alright, our next step, the top part of the fuselage and the canopy. We're just going to lay a bead of glue on it and tack it into place here. And there we go. And you have a right and a left, it doesn't matter, but make sure when you start sanding, you sand one as a right or left. You don't have to knock off 45 degrees, you want to knock off 68 degrees through this. We provide a template for that. So you can sand some, line it up. You'll also notice little pinholes in here. This you can put a T-pin through to help guide it on. I don't, I just sand off some, line it up, use the template, call it good. Alright, you can see that we've sanded down the rudder just slightly. We're going to lay on some glue here. Line it up with the 2 holes. Put on our template. Make sure we're good. Hit the set. You can see behind the template is putting it just at the right angle, and the holes, make sure you're lined up straight. We've applied the glue. We're gonna set the other side up, line it up with the holes. Add the template and hit it with set. You know what? It looks like an airplane now. Here's a quick little secret. Arlene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue. You can pick this stuff up at most of the craft stores, craft and art stores. It's fantastic. It dries quick, it dries clear, and what I do usually is just put a little bead along everything. It doesn't add very much weight at all and really helps seal up the plane. What we're using here are the Hextronics HXT 900 servos. They're 9-gram servos. These things are almost indestructible. We've had major crashes. They rarely ever break. Make sure you put them opposite directions because that's how they have to be set up and work. So we're also using the micro Dubro connectors on here. The trouble is they don't fit in these arms. So you're just going to take a small drill, drill it out. Doesn't even have to be a power tool. You can actually see the size of the hole in there, that it just enlarges. So this is what it looks like with our Dubro connectors on. As you can see, they're small, they're quick, they're easy, but they give you adjustability. If you don't want to go with the Dubros, fine, you can use Z-bends on both ends, but I would recommend that the Dubros, they're worth the extra money because they give you adjustability for in the future. This is what it should look like once the servos are in place. Now you can use quick dry glue, you can use CA glue, you can use 5-minute epoxy, you can use a hot glue gun to hold them in place. It doesn't take much, just a couple drops of CA. Alright, our next step is going to be to add control horns here. I like the Dubro half-A control horns. They're the right size and they give the most flexibility. Usually on mine I use the second to bottom hole or even the bottom hole at times for maximum maneuver, and I would prefer you epoxy these into place on here. Hot glue and CA, they tend to bust off in radical maneuvers, so 5-minute epoxy is preferred. Okay, now that we've got the control horns epoxied into place, what I've got is a carbon fiber rod and a Y-clevis. So the Y-clevis just slips onto the carbon fiber rod, put a piece of CA glue, a drop of it, or some epoxy or Elmer's here, whatever your preferred method. Measure it out so it lines up. Give yourself a little extra space for a rod. Okay, we got our rod ready to go. Okay, so we've got our metal rods that fit into the Dubro connectors. All I'm doing is using a small heat shrink, sliding it over, and then sliding the metal rod into place underneath it. It doesn't have to go all the way down, you want a little, and then just simply shrink it into place. That's it. That is not going anywhere. It's a solid, easy, quick mount. So we've got our control horns and our control rods in place. It's a light, quick setup and really effective. So no need to tighten them all down, just finger tight and leave everything straight until you plug in the rest of it, and then adjust as needed right here with the set screws. Alright, we've got the rest of our plane and all our gear on. What I like to use is hot glue on this part. So a little hot glue over it. Sets into place really quick and easy. I even hot glue the ESC down. Now let's put a dab of glue to hold the wires down. One more. Now we've got this model completed. The last steps, trim it out, make sure the ailerons are correct, make sure the servos are tight, your prop's on good. Also make sure the numbers on your prop are facing forward to give it thrust out the back. Now, as far as decorating this plane, making it look the way you want, use Krylon shortcuts. It will not eat the foam. That's really important. Most of the other paints will eat the foam. Tape it up. Add the paint any way you want. You can also use colored packing tape. Extremely light, durable, easy to work with. Make it any way you want, and I think we're about ready to actually fly it. I hope that answers all your questions. If not, you can drop ISIS RC a line and we'll get back to you and do our best to make sure you're happy with the product. Thanks for watching.
Fly, Ubu, fly. Good dog.